All right, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and I'm here with Kemozabi. Kemo, thank you for being here. Do you want to say what's up?
Kemozabi the Great back in the house.
What have you got to show us
we've,
today,
we've been
Kemo?
looking we've been looking forward to this for a while now, to get back together. I mean, we're at levels that we were expecting, potential tops coming in on the stock market and Bitcoin. And here we are at these levels, watching very closely, on both the S&P 500, Dow Jones, Bitcoin, and gold is just going. So it's ripe for the timing for us to get back together and discuss these things.
Yeah, I think we're a little overdue, right? It's been a while, I think.
Well, we've both been busy. I mean, you you've opened up all kinds of things. You got your new indicator going on, which I want to get with Ben on that and start trying to use it, but it'll take me like 2 or 3 months before I trust any type of indicator and start using it. But it sounds like what you've got there is like awesome. Like, everybody needs to have it.
The feedback's been really good, and it's it's definitely it's like many things to many people. It's been
Mhm.
if you're used to cycle theory and you know the rules, then the thing I use it for, as someone with more experience with cycles, is I use it to alert me when things are going weird. And if you're brand new to cycles, then it will save you having to learn all the counts and stuff like that and the labeling. I totally understand that you don't want to trust it, and it would take you months. That's fine. It took me a while too. I actually didn't think the team would be able to build it, and that was how it was first sort of pitched to me. They said, "Oh, we'd love to build you an indicator," and I said, "Yeah, you wish. No chance, right? No way you can achieve that. There's too much nuance. I use too much of a discretionary system. Blah 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 blah." And yeah, then they built it, and I was like, "Oh damn! Like that's actually really. I'm really surprised." And then yeah, we started to like fine tune it and tweak it and sort of use different confirmation signals for different assets because certain things worked for say gold that didn't work in the stocks or whatever else. And yeah, we just kept refining it. We're still refining it. There's like a whole team of I think there's like 5 or 6 people behind it, and yeah, we got a couple of full time guys coding it to add more assets and all of this kind of thing. And it's just become like a full time job. We've put loads and loads of money into it. We're going to continue to put loads of money into it. But yeah, it's been a really exciting and like fun project for me on the side. So yeah, I'm really
Yeah,
proud of it.
and it seems like it's just getting better and better. Like, I can't wait to actually use it, but I wanted to devote the time to actually use it and try to implement it, and start making videos on it and what I'm seeing using it. I'm really looking forward to that. Just about the timing, and you've got Slice that opened up as well, and then I did as well, which is thanks for recommending me to them. Um, that has been fun. I mean, that's right up my alley. I'm able to give trade setups really, really quickly in there. Almost not a day goes by I don't look at some type of setup somewhere, on small day trading type of things. But still waiting for the big swing here. So we should probably get into what's going on here. With,
Yeah. By the way, just before you do, I'll give you the indicator. I'll just remind me, and I'll get the team to generate you a coupon code or whatever, and then you can just stick that in and it'll be free. So remind me about
yeah,
that.
yeah, I meant to get with Ben. Ben also reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, just give us some feedback and help us make it better." And I'm like, "I'm all for it. I just don't have time." But yeah,
Yeah.
cool. I appreciate that a lot. I was willing to support you guys in what you're doing. I think that's awesome, and I think it'll be very helpful for a lot of new participants that probably need something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think the other thing is, I think if you marry it up with like Elliott wave stuff, I think you might be able to use it to let you know which of the counts is the least likely. Because if the cycles don't agree with the Elliott wave count, then you know that it's probably the other count as well.
Do people still use Elliott Wave?
I know some people do for
I'm,
sure.
I'm teasing. Just, I mean, how are you counting this? I mean, you can count it. I can put a count on this, but I don't use Elliott Wave as much anymore. I have a few. Like, of all the trading systems that I've learned, there's like 2 or 3 really good setups. Like, TD Sequential has a really good setup, 1 or 2. Elliott Wave, I think, has 1 or 2 really good setups, and they're very reliable. Wyckoff, same thing. So I don't take every Elliott Wave trade setup idea because they're all subjective. I mean, they give you the stop loss where you're supposed to put it. Sometimes the stop loss is too far for me, though, and I'd like to keep my risk a little tighter. But I mean, we could Elliott wave this right now. I mean, what are we doing here? This can be easily counted as just an ABC backup. And this is something that I'm kind of worried about is people potentially getting trapped at a high. That's that's if something bad is coming. And this is just taking liquidity down, taking liquidity back up for a C leg, and this may come back down fairly low. So I'm open to price action getting down to the previous consolidation. I think we're a little late in the cycle for it, and I'd rather just see it hold up here and go. But this is definitely an interpretation of this, and your ABC is about to come down hard and fast and shake everybody out. That's definitely a concern.
It's kind of
Wyckoff though said it's up.
it's kind of eerily similar to the 2021 top, if you ask me, at the moment. Like, unless it starts to go a lot higher, it's kind of similar to that, I think.
Yeah, let's look at that right now. This is interesting that you bring that up. Let's zoom out to put this on log scale. This is very interesting what you're referring to there. Let's go to a 4-day chart so we can get all that price action together. So you have price come down, pop back up, price comes down, pops back up, barely breaks the high, comes down. So let's draw this out. This is this is like perfect because we would all have, or a lot of people would have the PTSD of 2021, and they would see the same pattern playing out. Imagine, can you see my screen? This doesn't work. Yeah. So imagine price action came down, popped up, popped the high, pops like that, pops up, pops the high, and pops down like that. I saw this as a buy setup right here until it stopped me out because that was just an ABC right there. This one would look the same. And everybody, I know everybody would say it looks exactly the same, expect for a bear flag, and it's going to dump. But what it actually is just the ABC, and this one actually plays out this time. Nobody wants to buy it though. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
I mean that fits really really good, especially if you do the bear flag like this, and then it actually just goes. Something to watch out for because I've already seen people talking about that, saying this is mimicking that. Watch, it's going to dump, and then it's going to bear market, which totally possible. It totally can, but I'm not counting on it based on the weekly chart. The weekly chart, which is what I base a lot of my investment slash trading on, you closed your higher high. So once you close a higher high, that gives you the higher low opportunity down here, and then stop loss at the low and go. If it gets down that deep, there's a possibility that this does not retrace very much, though. I think a lot of people. I've seen a few people talk about this idea where there's a head and shoulders pattern going on, or an inverse head and shoulders, where you're going to have this shoulder, this head, and if this comes down to here, everybody and their grandma is going to say, there you go, inverse head and shoulders. But inverse head and shoulders is not a continuation pattern. That's a bottoming pattern. That's not valid. So what's likely to happen is it's going to make it look like it's going to go and it's going to stop you out or liquidate or whatever. And then it'll go. So don't pay attention to people that are calling for such things like that. It would just be too clean for price to just There you go, ABC pullback. There's your wave 2. Everybody go long, stop loss at the low, and it just comes and tags your stop loss. There's too much liquidity that generated that way. Like, they bring up price so high, if they pull it back here, I would see it as it's gonna pop up and it's gonna stop you out or liquidate or continue pushing for whatever reason. So have your stop losses in place, and a lot of people have missed this rally moving up because they don't manage their risk, and they're like, "Oh, I don't wanna buy it, it's gonna dump," or, "I'll wait for a pullback," and it's like, if it pulls back, if it doesn't, manage your risk. You have places you can manage your risk off of, and I've been fairly good about telling people where to manage risk off of on my videos. I'm especially tight with my stuff on Slice, like, very, very tight stop loss. We just entered a little bit before coming on here, right at that low. That just happened. There's your stop loss, 107. Expecting probably 109, 109.5. Take some profits and raise your stop loss to break even. See if it goes anywhere.
The lockout rally for me makes the most sense because of how many people I saw, and I mean firsthand saw in my comment section and on Twitter, as we were approaching that sort of 74k low. I saw so
Mhm.
many people saying it has to go to 72k or it has to go to 60 or it has to go to this number, and I just kept thinking there's so many people waiting to buy down there just because it would be
Yeah,
logical, that I was like, I just knew it wasn't coming. I was like, there's no way they're going to gift all these people that have missed the whole thing and can't wait to buy 70k or whatever the number is. And I just think if we had a big
exactly.
sort of pullback now, like you were saying, a big wave two or whatever, then all those people get to go, yes, let me in, right? And it just, to me, it just
Yeah,
doesn't make sense that that's going to happen. I think the pullbacks are going to be kind of shallow. And I know just before we hit record, we were briefly talking about the S&P, and that looks like it's confirming a new daily cycle low today. And if risk is going to be on, then I don't really see how we're going to get a big kind of spill in Bitcoin. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
for sure. And like I've been tracking this thing all the way up on Bitcoin, and it's got all those liquidity spots that we're not taking. It's the price keeps pushing up and not taking liquidity, not giving you as a trader a premium entry where they stop everybody out and then run. It's been very, very shallow where it just keeps pushing and then like sort of stops you out, makes you think it's going for the lows, and it just goes. So the lockout rally that may continue, like we're looking for a potential cycle low happening in around June 6th, I do believe, is
Yes.
the time frame. And this seems like we're at all-time highs. This is an area to, sell my Bitcoin. But if you measure out or match out the pattern, let me draw this out for everyone. Make sure you save like 20 minutes at the end for that other thing.
Oh, for the banger. Yeah, I will do.
Yeah, I don't know how much time we have, but yeah, we definitely got to get into that. All right, so let me draw out a little pattern. I'm seeing this as potentially the center of your consolidation. And what's going to happen here is an ABC up to take this liquidity here, pop down for that leg, and then take out 112 with that leg, and then drop. That's your buying opportunity once you clear this liquidity, if they want that liquidity. And that should happen right around the 5th or the 6th of June. That is if there is no pullback. As soon as you get that low that just looks just like that coming from here, that might be all you get. And you have to buy, 104, and that's the low, and you go. That's something that you definitely have to be okay with, and you have to manage risk off of that. Break below that, we may be entering something a little more bearish. We keep closing daily lower lows, lower highs, then we're definitely in a downtrend. But yeah, just watch for this consolidation to just kind of repeat here. for the market to take those orders up there, feed them to these guys down here, and then resume. They're just trying to clear the orders up there. As soon as they clear those orders, then they can come and bring it down here and resume. Then you have an uptrend. If that pattern kind of happens, I'm expecting 144,000 fairly quickly within probably 5 weeks, 6 weeks. But don't miss the opportunity.
Why so bearish?
Oh, dude, no, 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 no. Wait. Let's go on a 2-day chart. That's just it's just getting started. We will get the 2-day chart. Why so bearish? This cycle is definitely not like previous bull runs. Like everything is just really, really wonky. The all-time high before having uh, the price, the way it's been a lot of sideways chop as it's going up, just very different.
Yeah, and we inverted into every single weekly cycle nearly. There's, I think there's at least there's a long cycle low, a really long one, a day 70 something,
Mhm.
right early on, and then there's a 42-day cycle shortly after that, and then there's another 42-day ish or 43-day cycle instead of 60 after the ETF launch. Then we've got this double inversion thing going on after the all-time high pre-halving, and then most recently at the 74K low or whatever, that was another inversion. So it's definitely been wonky.
Heck yeah. So if you look at the closing price on this, we could measure that to equal that. There's your ABC right there. So if that is the case, we should be right there, matching there and about to push up for like 130, 144, something like that. 128, I think, is minimum before a pullback and consolidation. So we might get a nice breakout and be like, all right, we're breaking out to the moon. And then we followed up with that leg to back test previous all-time high. And then we continue that run, 215, 220, before repeating this leg up here, distribution, and one more push up, 333. So not bearish. So this is, you have to follow the trend. You have your higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. In this sequence, however much higher that is, you expect if that low holds, you expect that much higher. And then you expect the higher low to come there, which is the all-time high, and then a higher high. Just keep following the trend. That's how we trend follow.
I know
Not
we've
not bearish. Let's
we've
measure that.
we've got how many weeks are we into this weekly cycle? Do you know? I should know this.
You should know better than me.
I know, I know. I think we're on about. I think this is week 4 or 5. No, no, no. It's more than that. We must be on week 7 or something by now. Yeah, must be on about week 7. And typically, we need to get this move done within the next few weeks, and
Yeah,
then we can
3 weeks.
talk about getting a pullback and a consolidation. And I want to see that happen because that will give us the space to then have another double out of the next weekly cycle low.
Oh, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
For sure.
So that would match this little pattern right here. If we are doing that little red one, well, that little red one from, we're on a weekly chart here, the 19th of February, 2024. If we're doing that little red one right where we're at, then we have that push up into like 144, which is a nice Gann number, and then pull back and then consolidate, similar to what we did in December 2023 all the way to January 2024. So like a month of sideways chop, sometime end of June into July maybe, before some kind of weird rally into September. Kind of makes sense.
I would love to see this thing top September, October.
Yeah, I think September, October, you'd have a top, and then it'll consolidate for like 3 months and then double again out of there. So I think everybody's looking at the 4-year cycle standard. Everybody knows you sell in September, October, as late as November. Sometime in the second half, you reach a number that's your sell zone, and then it just holds. And then it doubles again, gets everybody that thinks they sold the cycle peak to chase back in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
all we're doing is repeating that consolidation from the low to match the pattern, and the pattern completes. Just an idea. I mean, that would complete sometime around early 2026, I think, which is, we're looking for a cycle low very shortly after that. 9 months, maybe.
Yeah, it could be less or slightly more, but yeah, yeah, in that window.
Okay. Uh, okay. 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 I got an idea. We're just doing this on the fly here. I'm just thinking nine-ish months, and then just thinking about how long this consolidation was before the COVID dump. So A, B, C. This is your correction that comes thereafter. 9 months. That would be a what do you call that? Left translated cycle
Yeah.
into a 1 year back down into the 2028 cycle low. Then repeat that leg. Back testing all time high. Well, just under the 2021 all time high, something like that.
Wait, I don't think that would work from a cycle perspective.
Okay, so your cycle low would be here.
For
2026 cycle low.
yeah,
Left translate left translated cycle sometime early 2027
yeah, that's
actually
fine.
makes a higher and into a long that's your long prolonged bear market or whatever
Oh, okay, that bit
into
just I think we need to
well
drag out a bit. That's all.
yeah probably, and we'll do purple for the trend. You have your high, low, higher, higher low. This would make a higher high. That's where you would look for your higher low, keep the trend going, keep buying lows. The next target is what, 2.7 million.
More.
we'll, we'll see.
Oh dear.
But we got all this stuff. I mean, who thought that Congress and governments would be talking about Bitcoin? I mean, when I got in back around 2018, I wasn't thinking governments were going to be talking about it until the 2030s, 2040s, and here we are. They're implementing their quote unquote strategic reserves.
Yeah, it's super crazy. It's super wild that it got where it got so fast.
Yeah,
I still think these kind of things take a while to be implemented. I'm sure it will take a bit longer. But I don't know. Is there any part of you that thinks this is part of a plan for them that they had all along, or do you think this is they just saw this thing and thought, "Oh, let's jump on it"?
a little bit of both. Do I think it was created by the government? Probably. Did it get out of hand? Maybe. Um, but yeah, I think this might be one of those. We could get all conspiratorial on this, but this often is things that happen. They plan this stuff 20 years in advance before they implement it. Um, AI. Well, I think I mentioned that on one of my videos. Like they started building these data centers for Facebook's AI stuff. They started building that back in 2018. They broke ground 2018. So they had planning going on, years before that, before they even bought the property and broke ground. And here we are, almost 10 years later, and there's a craze for AI, and it's not even fully implemented yet. So yeah, these things they plan their stuff 20 years in advance, easy. Is Bitcoin part of that? It could have just be a backstop, just like in case we need something like this, in case we totally screw everything up, we need something to catch us as we fall. and they can do with it what they will. I mean, if they want to pay off the national debt, yeah, they'll buy up Bitcoin and reprice it just like they do with gold.
Yep. Yep.
I think gold gets repriced as well. And I was just looking at gold. That is just at that. It's just getting started now.
That's what I think. I really think that. I'm so insanely bullish, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah, I think we're like halfway through this parabola. I think it's halfway, which the rest of the parabola, it gets up there before pulling back. And then, yeah, the next 10 years, commodities, I think they go higher. I mean, why not?
Yeah, I agree. We've been tracking platinum recently as well in the members section. Have you been checking that?
Oh, yeah, that's a buy. Oh my gosh. What's the ticker on that?
Type the word platinum and it will come up.
The futures is like PL or something like that. There it was. Platinum futures PL. Yeah, that's like getting ready to break out there. So, did you close a weekly higher high? Yeah. So the weekly is up for now. This is definitely a consolidation pattern. This kind of goes with the S&P 500 and Bitcoin. If we are to have some kind of weird event that sends Bitcoin back to the range lows of like 74K, the platinum can come out and take out this liquidity down below. Does it already have enough liquidity? I mean, that's a breakout, isn't it?
Yeah, if you draw a diagonal, it goes all the way back. At least I don't know about the futures chart, but on the spot platinum chart, it goes all the way back to the high in a straight line, and it's a massive green breakout candle. I think maybe this not on the futures chart, which is interesting, but yeah, on the spot chart, if you draw that same line, it is a big breakout. Use the
Right.
top one, the TVC.
PVC.
Yeah,
Oh, PVC. They got such good history.
yeah.
From the top. But yeah, I did look at this the other day and I was like, oh, platinum just looks like it's getting ready to roar. I am in log scale. That's why. Ugh, did that break out and then break out again? Yeah, so it already broke out there. There's your breakout. And you've just been reconsolidated. This looks like a show of strength. Kind of got deep on the back test. Yeah, anywhere around here would definitely be a buy. I mean, it took a long time. You took 2 years on that. But if you take just the trend and measure it, try to do that with a price range from the downtrend, we take this high right here, measure up to there. That's a higher high than there. Take it from the low. There's your trend. Buy it right there. That's where your higher low should be. Getting a nice rounded bottom and breaking out. Yes, looks good to me. Nice engulfing candle.
I've been thinking of adding some physical. I've recently found out I don't know if you know this, the UK, if you buy gold and silver coins with the Queen's head on the back, they're considered legal tender, so there's no capital gains tax. And I
What about
just,
the VAT?
yeah, you do pay VAT on silver, but for gold, and you pay a little premium on a coin over buying like a big brick or whatever. But
Uh-huh.
some people prefer to opt for buying those sort of Britannia coins because there's no capital gains tax, so it's pretty easy to. They're quite liquid. You can just sort of trade them. You don't have to worry about reporting them or anything like that. But I recently found out they make them in platinum as well. So I was thinking like that might be quite a nice way to get some exposure to this move for the next 5+ years.
Yeah, this thing looks like it didn't even start. Do you remember? This must have been more than a year ago when we had a chat and gold versus the S&P 500 looked just like this.
I can't say I remember it to be honest.
Yeah, this is it. It came down, had a little spike off accumulation, spring of the low, show of strength, and backup phase, and markup ensued. And gold's been doing very well since. So yeah, I mean, I looked at that chart on gold versus S&P. It's been a year and a half ago. Now, this looks really, really, really good. I'd be bullish on this chart, and this has the same formation.
You know what else? If you do platinum priced in gold, it looks like platinum is going to outperform. And so, since I'm so bullish on gold, then this who knows how high this thing's going. But yeah,
Oh, oh, that's. I mean, you still have to get a breakout on that, but man, gold's been really kicking butt. Uh, but yeah, 33.33.
this is I think this is getting ready for a major low. And even if it just starts to move back up, like not even close to the highs, but even if it can just get a breakout and a big push, I think given the price action of gold, we're going to see this thing really, really outperform. It kind of says to me it's going to cover a lot of ground really, really quickly, but I don't know if I'm right about that. Of course, it's just my thoughts.
Yeah, if this breaks above there, I mean, your minimum target should be 1.3 on the platinum to gold. Your falling wedge, that's a minimum target, but if it breaks out and gets some momentum, you're probably coming up to those lows that was support before at 1.7.
Yeah, and that's getting on
Yeah.
for 5K an ounce, right? It's like a 5x in platinum.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's wild, right? It's wild. We're bringing like the altcoin gains to TradFi.
Well, this is th- I wrote about this stuff on my X profile, how the business cycle goes and how you have economic upturns and downturns, and the last portion of the economic boom or whatever, commodities run last and kind of throughout the decline of the economic situation until things kind of recover, and then your tech stocks and S&P 500 would outperform. But this makes sense that you'd have a nice boom in commodities, on like a 100-year chart or whatever. It's time. The debt cycle and all that. It's just time. Speaking of debt, man, that 10-year yield is just ugh, looking
Oh, I
scary.
know, I know, I know. I would love to hear what you have to say about it because I don't really know what to make of it. I've been saying I really want to see the yield move lower, but I also have been saying it doesn't seem like anyone wants to buy the debt, and I don't blame them because I don't want to buy it either. And I also have been saying if the yield continues to move much higher, I think we might have to see the Fed step in and be the buyer of its own debt, like the buyer of last resort. So let me know what you think if you've got anything to add, or if I'm wrong about that, or whatever.
No, very, very, very much so. Somebody has to buy it, and if there is no buyers, you have a very, 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 very sharp default. It'll be a default very, very quickly thereafter. So yeah, somebody has to buy it, and I think the Fed kind of stepped in and already started providing some liquidity there.
Yeah, treasuries, right?
But yeah, they had to backstop one of the Treasury auctions to the tune of like, I don't want to misquote it and stuff, but it's like 200 million.
I was going to say 200. I think it was 200 billion, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't want to throw out the big number to scare anybody.
I'm pretty sure it was 200 bill.
But yeah, right off the rip, I mean, you have your ABC here or whatever that kind of is inconsequential, but what you have is a high. That's a higher high. Here's your higher low. I mean, this is a correction. You're getting ready to trend back up again. It doesn't look like it's going down. You're still closing a higher than that. That's still a higher high than that high. So this could be the what happens with gold, platinum, and all these commodities is they're just going to go, and nobody wants to buy the debt. And the problem with maybe the maybe the stock market at S&P does continue up, but not as strong because of all the debt that the corporations have, and that's like MSTR. That's kind of what I'm warning about on MSTR is, there's a sell setup incoming on that. If it fails, then yeah, it's going to go bananas. But it's coming soon. But this, I would expect this leg to repeat somehow, getting us up to 5.7 to maybe 6% yields on the 10-year, if it's only for a moment, and that could be when some kind of panic strikes or something like that. And it's an excellent buying opportunity for all treasuries because this then sharply rejects down here. But longer term, you just bring that to there. There's your Wyckoff accumulation. This is not doesn't show volume on this chart, but it's got the formation where you pop the low, pop the high, and you're about to enter markup phase because you have not had a move up like that in the past 40 years. So over the next 15 years, 10 to 15 years, this should kind of chop and trend up regardless because I don't think people want the debt forward. But yeah, Wyckoff says that this is a backup phase, and this might be marking up substantially. I'd be really, really worried about it. Marking up to like 12 to 14%. Get us back to where we were in the 1980s. Nobody wants the
So,
debt anymore.
I
It has to
mean,
get to a point where people want it.
what is this going to do, though? This is going to break things, right? Because this, as a knock on effect, people's mortgages and debt, their auto loans that they're already, we're seeing delinquencies skyrocket everywhere.
Hmm.
Credit cards, auto loans, mortgage defaults, everywhere. Uh,
Yeah.
and if and most of that is a result of the combination of printing and the higher interest rates after the C19 era, as you know. But at 12% on the 10-year, like what does that
Mhm.
mean for your average Joe's mortgage? Like what is and the auto loan and all this kind of thing? Like this is going to be it's going to be really serious, right? If it actually makes it up there.
Well, I think it'll be definitely hard to adjust to that for the first 5 years or something like that. But they've done it before. You had that through the 1960s and all the way until the 1980s and stuff. But this was all, it was difficult for people there as well. How difficult? I don't know. You have people that are locked into their 30-year mortgages, which I don't think we had 30-year mortgages back there.
No,
But now,
do you know the other thing about being back there as well though? Back there, it was about 2.7 times the national average salary to buy a house, whereas
yeah,
today we're at 7 or 8 times. So
yeah,
there's that too.
yeah. They're they're playing the long game to screw everybody out of their purchasing power. It's it's horrible. Um, but yeah, over this whole span, there's no move up that has happened like this. And from a trading, like if I was to trade this as like a Bitcoin chart and I was to see this formation higher high, I would try to be buying down here and I would be targeting every one of these wicks just from like a trading perspective. That doesn't mean the yield has to go there, but I mean, you're talking 10% eventually over the next decade, somewhere around 10%. I think people are going to freak out if this thing gets to six. I think that's already going to break things. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. And I think that's probably a top in the market. And they somehow lower the rates. If it's the Federal Reserve that just says, no, we're not putting rates any higher, rates are going lower. Um, that'll mark the top of the market, like the S&P 500. I was thinking about that this past couple weeks here. And it's like, well, everybody's waiting for the Fed to cut. And it's like, once they cut, it's off to the races. Well, what has happened to the S&P 500 this whole time that they've been waiting to cut for the past 2 years, and it's just been going up in anticipation of the cut. So once the cut happens, there's the sell the news event. This is buy the rumor, sell the news. Once they start cutting, that's look out below most likely. Be careful what you wish for.
Also, look at the look at that monthly wick. Look at that that monthly swing low pattern. Like what on earth is that?
is this doing? That's just popping up there. Yeah, it might not revisit that wick. I'd see that as a buy setup down there, halfway on that wick. Um, I don't really know the Japanese candlestick patterns. I know of them. I know some really good ones. This is a Japanese candlestick pattern. I just don't know what it is and what it implies. I think Tony the Bull would probably know a lot better than I would.
Yeah, we're all big cheds. I know he's a Japanese candlestick guy.
Yeah. Speaking of Tony the Bull, why he got so much flack for his idea, man. What the heck?
No, nobody is allowed to be bearish here, right? Our job is to sell people hopes and dreams.
Nuts. See, I had absolutely no problem with what he was projecting. As a trader, I saw what he saw, and it either went or it didn't. I was looking for a rejection in the same area that he was looking at. It just made perfect sense. But if you look at the trend, here's your low, here's your lower low, here's your high. This is where you look for the lower high. So that's a perfect sell. I think he traded that perfectly. Got stopped out. Okay, something else is going on. But people flamed him for that. But on a weekly scale, he was not wrong. This was a lower low, lower high, lower low until it made a higher high from there. Then you have the opportunity that maybe it's going back up. And then so many people come out the woodworks and claim like I knew it was going up because of blah blah blah. and and I just gotta laugh and be like, you don't know.
You know, the other
None
thing
of
is
us.
we had Bob Lucas take some profit.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
it was like, I think it was a third of his position from the 4 year cycle low, and
Mhm.
it was approximately equivalent to taking a 15% profit on a 100x position from the start of when he first bought the first 4 year cycle low and started
Mhm.
documenting it. And I saw people go, "Oh, Bob Lucas cheated the bag, this, that, and the other." And I'm like, brother, let him take 15% profit so he can sleep easier at night on his 100x long. Like, leave him alone, you know? Like, this space is ruthless.
For sure. It's so messed up. And it's like, so he sold around here. I mean, it made a lower low, de-risk a little bit, makes a higher high. Hey, try to buy the higher low. Get back in. Who cares?
Exactly.
But yeah, definitely. He was buying publicly back at this low, and he bought again at this low.
Yep.
He sold some, I think it was right there, because that was part of his plan. So then after that, he was playing with house money, and he missed that, and he sold. I think he sold somewhere around
45, I think.
somewhere in this vicinity. He was like, "It doesn't look right to me, so I'm going to sell." And then he bought back here, and then sold a little bit here. Come on, people,
I know, I know, I know. I saw people doing
do
quote
that.
tweets like, "Oh, he sold the lows, he panic sold." I'm like, "Oh, guys, you guys need to find something else to do, man."
You need to find yourself a girl, mate. I mean, it's masterfully done. That $100,000 portfolio is what 3.2 million now,
Yeah, something like
just
that.
from trading. It's like 4 trades.
Yeah, yeah, ridiculous.
Masterfully done.
Without the need to stare at charts all the time as well. Just goes out and lives his life. Crazy. He loves his tennis, I think, and yeah, yeah. I don't know what people's problem is. I don't know. I don't know what. I think the question is like, what is it they expect? If that's not good enough, then what is actually good enough for these people? You know?
Yeah, what's the benchmark you guys are going for? Like, well, he didn't open up 100x long down here. uh, at max long, which actually Tony the Bull had a decent sized position. He was up 14,000% or something like that on his longs. It's like,
Yeah, yeah. He was.
hey,
Yeah.
he made his year. I'm, I'm sure he made his year. And that's the thing with trader people that are actually experienced and understand that markets go up and they go down. you're not going to get everything right, but somebody that has the experience is going to preserve the money that they're making on the way up and not, shed so much profit on the way back down. Like, I mean, we'll put this back in log scale. The 2021 top. Um, I mean, we could name some names, but there's somebody that you called out recently on Twitter. Um, I mean, they bought somewhere around here, and they held all the way back down and all the way back up, and now they're talking game. And it's like, yeah, but you held through. There's a lot of missed opportunity there. Like, a little nicely placed stop loss would have, doubled, tripled your bag on the way down, and to be able to add to it on the way back up. So same thing happens here. Any top can be a top of the market. You never know when it's going to be. So there's nothing wrong with securing some profit. And definitely know that, hey, if you close a weekly close lower low, you can expect a lower high. If it makes a higher high, then get back in. It's I mean, you're missing out on a little move there in the grand scheme of things. Just as long as you don't wear that, 60% drawdown and then come back and start bull posting here and be like, "Yeah, I bought the lows." Like, no, you probably bought the lows back in 2020, round trip yourself, and now you're in profit talking all that smack.
Oh dear.
If you know, you know. You
Yeah,
know
if
who
you know,
that
you
is.
know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh.
Because I followed that person, and I know exactly what they did. I mean, when you get to the experience level in markets and be like, yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I know you have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
Uh, People have to learn how to trade. Actual trading, if that's what you're going to do. If you're looking at charts, pay yourself for your time of looking at the charts. Don't make it a wasteful endeavor.
Yeah,
So,
the that MicroStrategy trade that I took earlier in the year. I so I bought the 4 year cycle low after we had that initial pop to, was it like March of 24? Bitcoin made that 73K halving or 72K, whatever it was, pre-halving all-time high. Yeah, right in that kind of
yeah.
neighborhood there. We had a bunch of this, and I was actually losing sleep because my position had gone. I'd started with an allocation that I was willing to lose. Right, I was willing to lose the whole thing if the worst should happen, and then by the time Bitcoin had run up and made this all-time high pre-halving, this position had ballooned so large I could not sleep at night, and I was literally like, I can't do this, man. I have to sell it. And I remember making a members video, and I was like, guys, like I'm losing sleep. I'm dying of stress. I have to take half this position off. I have to pay myself. and then
Yeah.
and then without doing that, there was no way that I could have. There was no way I could have had my psyche positioned to stay long for the rest of the rally, right? Like I said, I was literally dying of stress because I knew that I was being financially irresponsible to stay long and not pay myself. And I just think people don't.
Yeah,
People are so
26
quick.
weeks there in that sideways consolidation, 6 months. You
Yeah,
you would have lost sleep for 6 freaking months.
yeah, and also it's easy with hindsight now to look back at this and say, "Well, yeah, it's just a consolidation." But at the time, we really had to entertain a left translated top. We also had a whole heap of other risk. Every cycle low in Bitcoin kept failing, right? It was like cycle low, here
Yeah.
we go. Oh, failed. Oh, another cycle low, here we go. Oh, and it failed, right? I think we had like two or three in a row and then an inversion and then another inversion. And all of that was like, until you see a breakout, you really can't be super bullish here. And I know people remained bullish and people jumped up and down and said, buy the dip, fine. And they got away with it. But, I remember during that period of time, I was like, this is not as straightforward as, oh, everything's going to be fine, is the cycle's going to do what it always does. It's just easy to say that now because we can see the rest of the chart.
Yeah, putting this on linear scale the way that you look at it, that would have been your losing sleep, that little chop there, and then it went. So if you took off half your position there, you're still plenty exposed for that. I mean, that uh, I just, I mean, go buy an island at that point.
You know, the other thing as well, it broke. It had a pretty nice 3 angles of increase in steepness on the daily time frame, and
Yeah,
it started to
like
break
right
down
there.
from them. And then so I was sitting there going, well, you know, I use these lines for a reason, right? It's like how much more damage technically can I can I allow to occur before
Yeah,
it just becomes reckless. And then again, we did manage to draw a trend line over the top of it and get back in. We managed to buy the cycle low as well before the last move, so it's not the end of the world, right? It's like you said earlier, it's like you can always get back in on a higher low or whatever.
yeah,
But
yeah. As
but
long
yeah,
as
it
you
was
know how to
stressful.
manage the risk, and that's what the experience and what we learn, over time is like a trade is a trade. You get in, you get out, you pay yourself, and there's always another opportunity, whether it's up or down. Like there was an opportunity at these lows. Like I didn't want to see it go below 270, but hey, it went down there. This is not looking great anymore. Man,
I'm going to set an invalidation for this once this cycle low is in, and I think it will be in any day now, or maybe like next week, you know, early June. But once this cycle low is in, I'm going to draw a line underneath that, and if we lose that, I'm out. I don't care anymore. I'm never looking back. Well, I say never. I'll look back in the 4 year cycle low if it doesn't go to zero, but we'll see.
yeah, I would see a buy setup maybe around 325 coming into the cycle low because you have your high there. There's your higher high. So from there, you'd expect the higher low to come in right around 320, 325.
Yep, fine by
You
me.
might come down for this liquidity here, but yeah, take your cycle low. If you get a bounce, that's your invalidation. Breaks below that, get out. I wanted this liquidity up here for what was it, 465, 470. Just take that liquidity. After that, sell it down. I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't trade this guy.
Do you
I rarely trade
do you have
anything
any
else but
thoughts on?
Bitcoin.
Sorry, say that again.
Like I said, I rarely trade anything else but Bitcoin. Bitcoin's my bread and butter. Like I'll put on a gold trade here and there, and S&P 500s trade an index. If I see a really good forex setup, I'll take that. But my daily is just mastering the chart of Bitcoin.
Do you have any thoughts on the sailor not wanting to do proof of reserves? Is it a nothing burger or is it dodgy?
Dude, I think everybody is dodgy that supposedly own a lot of Bitcoin. It's like, I own a whole bunch of this. I'm like, okay, where's it at? Well, I want to show you. It's like, I got a really big dick. Like, uh-huh. I'm not gonna show you, but yeah, Coinbase, I guess Socrates was showing the same thing. Like they don't want to show proof of reserves either. And it's like, well, it's a security issue. It's like tell yourself what you want, but that's the whole point of Bitcoin is it makes it, you don't have to trust anybody. You can verify. You're not using Bitcoin to be verifiably holding the Bitcoin. You're a scammer. So it's pretty scammy, I want to say. I mean, not to throw any shade towards Michael Saylor, but he's just another dude, just like anybody else, just like that kid that's getting liquidated on Twitter.
Yeah, the
Same difference. That poor kid.
hyperliquid guy. Yeah.
Yeah, Hyperliquid dies. Whatever his name is, some win. I don't know. But yeah, horrible. Learn to trade, people. We can show you. Just we can show you the way. So, yeah, I don't know. How are we doing on time?
54 minutes. So
Mm. So let's get into it. So yeah, I'm all about the Bitcoin chart, learning it backwards, forwards, inside, and out.
is this the
But
banger?
yeah,
Are we moving to the banger?
we'll move to you. Bang on.
Okay, nice. This
We're gonna
I watched
try.
when you sent me this video. So for the people watching, if you made it this far, you're in for a real treat now. Kemo sent me this video, and I watched it. I kept rewinding it because I couldn't believe my eyes. So take a look at this.
Let's see if I can make this happen. All right. So what I did here is I took this 2018 high to low and I measured out, where's my measuring tool? The date. I took, we're on a weekly chart. I did this on the daily, but to show the whole chart, we'll do it on the weekly. So 52 bars, it was 52 weeks, one full year. So I took 26, um, which is halfway. It's the halfway point. I think 52, no, it'll be, yeah, 26. So it'll be the halfway point. And I will take a trend-based fib time. I don't care where I started at, that doesn't matter. But where I end it and where I anchor from is the midpoint of the 2028 or 2018 bear market. And coming from that, what I found was just so crazy. So since that's right in the middle, of course, this high matches with that low. So as I move this backward in time, the other line moves forward, and that's the 1-to-1 fib. However far back I move it, the other line moves forward in time. And what you will find is really, really crazy things with regards to the August 2015 low matches with the April 2021 high. So this is part of like a Gann theory thing where tops predict bottoms and bottoms predict tops. So that one in time gave you the same measurement. But that's not all. That next low in 2014 or 2015, that gave you the next peak in 2021. So those matched in time. You have a double bottom here, and on the other side, you have a double top. But that's not all. You go to the next peak, and that marks your 2022 bear market low. Oh, but that's not all.
This
Oh
doesn't
wait,
make sense to me.
hold on.
I've seen you do this before. You showed me this before, and it still doesn't make sense to me. Like, how. I can't explain it. It's too perfect.
It's too crazy. And guess where that next low gave us our all-time high that we previously had. So if tops predict bottoms, bottoms predict tops, your next bottom matching with that top, we're due. We're due for a bottom coming up very, very soon, within a week.
Right out of that cycle low, right?
Right at the cycle low that you're talking about matches with this Gann analysis where tops predict bottoms, bottoms predict tops, and that's your peak from June of 2011. That peak is going to match with the low. Then what comes after that, I mean, assuming this goes, this is not something I trade on, by the way, but it's so interesting. But we'll mark off that low, that wick low, that big green wick low that predicts a top sometime February of 2026, and then some consolidation or something with a final peak, maybe, which would totally mess up Camel's cycles. His cycle theory would be all broken sometime in October of 2026. So if this does play out, maybe we have some kind of weird left translated cycle happening in October 2026, but that should be a cycle low. This is what is messing with me is this thing that's been accurate for the past little while. Like I discovered this like a year and a half ago, and it might maybe more. And it's actually been tracking pretty well. Like if you get into the nuance of it, tops predict bottoms, bottoms predict tops. It plays forwards and backwards. So if this is like Tony the Bull put out a Bitcoin Hearst cycle thing that says that we'd probably be looking at a major top coming soon in Bitcoin that gives it the entire cycle before we have a secular bear market, and this might fit it. Like this might be the center drawn out like there, and then you go secular bear for 5 years after this thing tops predict bottoms, bottoms predict tops. We'll see if it plays out, but it's it's crazy how it has called everything since the bear market low of the COVID drop. I guess would have I don't know that would have predicted. Yeah, ever since the 2018 low, it predicted the next top. So you want to know when the top is? This is how you do it, I guess.
It's absolutely wild, wild to me. I wonder if
It
it.
is.
Do you think it speaks to perhaps having a very big blow off top move? Or does it not imply anything about size? Is it just more of a timing thing?
It's definitely not about size because I mean this is a very, very large rally. It just gives you timing. Maybe dollar amount, dollar percentage. No, it wouldn't be percentage because the percentages are way higher here. And
Or
on
I
the
just
other
had a
side, they're very muted.
just had an idea. I just had a thought. Right? What if the completion of this takes us up to some number, and the price can stabilize because it ends up being a world reserve asset or going into a basket to back the dollar or something like that? What if that's where it will run out?
Yeah, but then you're getting into the essentially the S curve adoption.
Yeah,
Right? 20. This would be. This is not so much the cost of Bitcoin going up; it's your currency collapsing,
yeah.
in my view, or the bond market. Me and you have theorized that this Bitcoin potentially replaces the bond market, which would make sense. So if those yields are spiking up and continuing up, that could be Bitcoin taking over the bond market. That would be an S curve adoption. That would be wild. I'm not. I don't think that's happening that quickly, but never say never.
100%.
Tops predict bottoms, bottoms predict tops.
And this says February, right?
This is saying the low is coming next week to match with that low, and then the next peak on a wick high, which I think I was going on closes, was working a little better. But you could do this yourself at home and just use that midpoint as the anchor point and play around with it. See what you guys find. But yeah, February of 2026. So let's get this thing to pop up and then repeat this leg now and then go sideways into the end of the year. And then there's your February completing the pattern somewhere around 300, 400K. But I've had the target of 333,000 since back here based on an Elliott wave pattern that I've been watching. How's that for a banger? Man, it still blows
Definitely.
my mind. I still play with it probably once a week and just be like, how is this possible?
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that the double bottom from 2015 marrying the double top in 2021 was just crazy. But it's just, I don't know, man. Charts do weird things sometimes, right? Like it just blows my mind.
Well, it blows my mind because you never know. Like you wonder what's going on with the chart at all time, and there's no rhyme or reason to what's going on. But the fact that this low matches that high in time, and then that matches that, it's creepy. It's like somebody's playing with us. It's like an AI algorithm that's just toying with us. I mean, like, well, we'll just do the pattern in reverse. You know how I do with the legs. I just match the legs, and what came before plays out in the future. It's kind of a Gann style of trading.
We live in a
It's
simulation, man. That's the only explanation.
That's all it is. That's all it could be. But yeah, that's the tops predict bottoms, bottoms predict tops. The anomaly is what I call it. Um, it's that's just somebody that has way too much time on their hands. Wants to know the chart inside and out like the back of their hand. And yeah, I know every price movement of this chart, and I've studied it enough. And you stumble upon things, weird things come up, and it's just when I noticed that, I shared it with very few people, and we'll premiere it here. I will also release the video on my channel, I think after your premiere.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
next week.
sharing that with us and with me. I can't. I don't even know what to say. I'm still kind of speechless by it. It's just so. It's so simulated, so wild.
It is. It's so creepy. What to say after that? What can you what can you do to top that weird anomaly?
There's nothing that can top that. That's why I said I think we should end on this because yeah, I mean I hope people appreciate it as much as we do. Maybe we're just a couple of chart nerds and no one else will care, but I have a sneaky suspicion they're gonna find it interesting as well. So, do you want to give anyone a shout out or plug anything or anything like that before we go?
Well, yeah, I check out my YouTube channel. I'm trying to keep things updated there. Join me on Slice, man. We're ripping little day trades here and there and trying to get positioned. And the thing that I'm hoping to be able to do on Slice with my members is to do what is called pyramiding. If we go to a say a 4 hour chart and we'll look at this rally. So I had positions all in here and I pyramided up and I closed those at 110, thinking that the pattern potentially is completing up there. But I was adding several times. I mean, I don't know how many buy setups I had, but just on Slice, just in this no this vicinity right here when I started Slice, I think I've had like 20 of them, 20 buy setups come in and just riding them all the way up. Got stopped out. I think I'm up to 4 stop outs now and 20 winning positions. So the next cycle low that comes out of it, I'm going to be doing the same pyramiding and getting those entries. That's my plan anyway. You know what we should do? We should have a collaboration on Slice.
Yeah, we could
That
do
would
that.
be bad. I love the platform. I absolutely love that platform. It's so cool to me.
I'm glad you like
But
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
follow my YouTube channel. Check me out on YouTube. Um, yeah, follow the links.
yeah. I'll put the links in the description and pinned comment and all of that stuff. Yeah, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your time.
Dude, thanks for having me, man. I owe a lot to you.
Not at all. Not at
You
all.
never owe.
Yeah. Well, we'll speak soon. All the best. I'm hitting end. I'm hitting end.